It is Brian Wilson on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. I'm joined by Jim Robbins, who is the senior editorial writer at the Washington Times today. We are very pleased to be joined by Congressman Jason Chaffetz, a Republican from Utah, chairman of the House Oversight Subcommittee on National Security. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you.
Okay, so you have been in charge of the investigation on the House, looking into what actually happened in Benghazi. First question, were you surprised that it wasn't a bigger topic last night? And what is it that you suspect about what happened in Benghazi?
I did think it would probably garner a little bit more time, but I thought Mitt Romney did a good job of just kind of keeping it 60,000 feet and creating a vision for what he believes should happen in the Middle East. The president still has not addressed this. There are still outstanding questions. We are 6 weeks or so past when the 4 Americans were murdered in that terrorist attack. We don't have a clear picture of what happened, why it happened. What bothers me is back on June 6th, there was a terrorist attack. We did have our embassy, our consulate wall was blown out. And instead of fortifying it, instead of adding more personnel to protect the people there in Benghazi, we have less personnel. So there's still a lot of outstanding questions.
What was the motivation for the administration to not call this a terrorist attack?
Well, it didn't follow their narrative. They just got done in North Carolina saying that Al Qaeda is on its heels and they're being diminished, and that days later we had this terrorist attack. We had the ambassador's life taken. First time that's happened since the 1970s. It didn't fit their narrative, and I just worried that politics was prevailing over security. Instead of security dictating security, it seemed the politics were.
Sir, this is Jim Robbins. What do we know about what we knew before all this happened? Because we have this report that there was a surveillance drone circling the site before any of this took place. We have a report that there was a quick reaction team in Italy that was ready to go in case anything happened. So clearly someone was thinking that something might happen. So what do we know about that?
Well, remember, there were 230 security incidents there in the area. On September 1st, the Libyan Interior Minister had put eastern Libya on high alert, saying that they were losing control. In fact, Ambassador Stevens sent a cable back to Washington, D.C. on September 4th, indicating as much. The British had that their assassination attempt on their ambassador back in June. It got so bad they pulled out. We were the only Western country there with a presence in Benghazi. Al-Qaeda and affiliates were flying their flags above government buildings. I mean, the intelligence community had foreshadowed this. We knew it was tumultuous, and literally we had just a couple of people there on the ground, Americans with guns that could protect our facility. So the State Department has testified that they could witness the attack virtually in real time. That's their words. There is a 50-minute tape of this incident. We should be able to see that tape.
Was any of this precursor activity mentioned in presidential daily briefs, or has the administration acknowledged that they knew something was going on and they were taking steps, sort of preparatory steps? Because it seems like things were ready to respond to an attack if they had wanted to.
Well, the thing that bothers me most is June 6th, our wall was breached in a terrorist attack on Benghazi. And again, what the president has failed, what the press corps has really failed to ask, and what the president certainly hasn't answered is, why is it, and again, in April, there was also a terrorist attack. So what other facility in the world had been bombed twice, except Benghazi? And then knowing that it had been bombed twice, knowing that there are all these security issues, what did the president do proactively? And it appears nothing. In fact, the RSO, the regional security officer, Eric Nordstrom, testified that he was put under pressure to implement an artificial timetable, as he called it, to have the appearance of quote-unquote normalization rather than beefing up security. And that proved to be a deadly decision by this administration.
Congressman Jason Chaffetz is on the line with us. He's the Republican from Utah, chairman of the House Oversight Subcommittee. Okay, so the president, not last night but in the previous debate, he stood there and pointed his finger at Mitt Romney in this display of righteous indignation and said that you're playing politics with foreign policy, Mr. Romney. And it was a moment that many people said was sort of, for many people, I wasn't one of them, but for many people, they thought that was one of the high points of that particular debate and a good moment for the president. I look at it and I see a very different thing. What was your reaction to that? And who's really playing politics with what happened in that particular part of the world on September 11th?
I don't think anybody objectively can look at what the president, the White House, Secretary of State, the Ambassador Rice, look at all the statements that have come out of the White House. Terribly inconsistent, convenient for the administration in their answer. I don't see any evidence that they've given the American people a straight answer. Look at what the families have said. The families have said they haven't gotten straight answers. So playing politics, it wasn't part of my political playbook on September 11th to have 4 Americans murdered in a terrorist attack.
Right. What's
been disappointing is that the reason the story continues to linger is that the president has not been candid. This idea of a video is because there was a mob outside that suddenly got out of control. I mean, that's just proved to be totally false.
All right. Well, Congressman, we'll have to leave it right there. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining us. Please come back again, will you?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congressman
Absolutely.
Jason Chaffetz, who is the chairman of the House Oversight Committee investigating the situation as to what happened at our consulate in Benghazi.